bit about SORA. SORA is a decentralized economic system, and we're building it in Polkadot. So yeah, I'll talk about this. So first, a self-introduction. So I'm an early Polkadot investor, and then I've been into crypto myself since 2013, and I was moving among different projects, and then I was able to start my company Sorimitsu in 2016. And my company Sorimitsu is a global fintech company. We specialize only in blockchain technology. So we don't really do anything besides blockchain, but we handle the full stack from the back-end blockchain system all the way up to the mobile apps. This gives us good vertical integration and lets us optimize the user experience. And we've done some really exciting projects. We built a CBDC for the Central Bank of Cambodia, and that uses enterprise permission blockchain, Hyperledger Iroha, that we also created. And in the Polkadot ecosystem, we're working on SORA. And SORA is a decentralized economic system, and I'll give a brief overview of it today. But we also do other really exciting things in Polkadot. So we created Fearless Wallet, which is a really the best DeFi wallet in the ecosystem, I think. And it supports almost all the chains, and you can try it out. It's free to use, and there will be a desktop app out soon. I'll just point out that, yeah, our work in Cambodia is quite well covered in Japan. And my company was founded in Japan originally, and I'm Japanese. I don't really look Japanese, but I'm a naturalized Japanese. So we won different awards in Japan from Nikkei and the Japan Financial Innovation Award. So let's talk a little bit about SORA and the problem we're trying to solve. So we want to create a decentralized economic system. What that means is, rather than just creating a cryptocurrency, we want to also have a way to have governance to allocate the money in the economy, hopefully to help productive use. So there's different ways to do this. Economic systems really determine the type of world that we have. So in the Washington Consensus, you have a free market capitalism, which is based on equilibrium economics, which don't actually exist in the real world. And free market capitalism is really not free because every market is controlled by people who have all the money and the assets. On the other end of the spectrum is like totalist planning from the Soviet Union, the 5-year plans, like factory quotas that would have output quotas per factory. This didn't work out so well either. And then in Japan and in Southeast Asia, we had high-level sectoral planning. And this is covered in Dr. Richard Werner's book, Princes of the Yen. He talks about the story of Japan and Japan's window guidance and how they did high-level sectoral planning from the central bank to have sustainable growth with low inflation. So that's what we're trying to do with SORA, is target this kind of middle road between free market capitalism and totalist planning by having like a DAO manage the distribution of money. So as you might have noticed, the world is currently in chaos, and we're at an important point where the world is changing from the old system into a new system, and we don't yet know what this new system is going to be like. So we have to create it. So the best way to predict the future is to create it, right? What's interesting to also look at as trends in the changes of the dominant currency over time. We even had, in the past, the Portuguese real was the dominant currency for about 100 years. And now, of course, it's the US dollar. But many people think that a new currency is going to take over as the world's dominant currency. There's other competing standards. So, you know, BRICS nations have been talking about creating a commodity-based currency. There's the Zhongguo Yuan in China. Even some countries have been adopting Bitcoin as a legal tender currency. So we don't yet know which of these is going to be the next best currency or if it's going to be something else. So my personal opinion is that we want to create the new future that we will have, and we want SORA to be a leading part of this new world economic system. Skip some of this. So some of this is, I think, pretty obvious, but I think everyone here knows about Bitcoin and Ethereum. So the whole story is that Bitcoin was just a Bitcoin value transfer network. Ethereum kind of expanded on this idea and had a Turing-complete smart contracts because it was quickly found that having the concept of programmable money and decentralized apps is really quite a powerful concept. And so that's really what started out, really, the creation of DeFi was originally on this programmable platform on Ethereum. And then the original Ethereum DeFi really was quite centralized. So you might remember Ether Delta. So they had centralized trade matching, and then the settlement was on chain. But because the trade matching was centralized, regulators went after the programmer who created Ether Delta, and I don't remember what happened to him actually. Was he in jail or executed by the SEC? I don't know what happened. But the guy got into a lot of trouble basically. So that led to the creation of purely decentralized DeFi, because if there's no single entity controlling anything, it's really hard to go after any entity. So we had, the summer of DeFi in 2020, Uniswap, Aave, all these cool things. MakerDAO, of course. And what we're trying to do next is actually go beyond just having DeFi apps and create a coherent economic system. So that's really what we're doing with SORA. So everyone likes math, so this is a very simple equation, but the basic point is that to have economic growth in an economy, the optimal output of an economy, so the potential output, is a function of the quantity of factor inputs and the total factor of productivity. So basically, you take some inputs and you have some processes that transform these inputs, and you get some output, like a new good or service. That's what economic output is. And a change in economic output is economic growth. So if you have more goods and services, then you have growth in the economy. And that's really what you want, because it pushes humanity forward. So this output is related to money through the equation of exchange. So the equation of exchange is really the amount of money in an economy and the velocity of the money. So basically all the transactions and the money used in them has to be equal to the price level and the quantity of transactions. But in traditional economies, it's hard to find the quantity of transactions directly because not all the transactions are seen. So you can proxy this with a nominal GDP, which is the output of a country. So what that gives you is this equation MV equals PY. And that's important because you can then disaggregate this into the type of money used in the economy. And this is based on Richard Werner's research. So the general quantity theory of money and credit, also known as the disaggregated theory of quantity theory of disaggregated credit. And his big revelation was that you can disaggregate the money in an economy to be used in the creation of or purchase of real goods and services, or you can use it for asset transactions, which is speculation, or you can use it for consumption. So that gives you money used in the real economy versus money used in financial transactions. So you get, what this leads to is that you can get productive economic growth by minting money for creating new goods and services. So this gives you an increase in the money supply, and through the equation of exchange, this gives you an increase in the output. And this works because in large economies, typically the velocity and the price level are kind of sticky, so they stay kind of equal. So if you increase the amount of money and use it to create new goods and services, velocity and price level typically will stay kind of sticky, so they'll stay the same for a while. But what you can do is you can get new output. So this is what the Japanese system used in the post-war era. So they did high-level sectoral credit planning, where they found that you can create money for specific industries, and when you do this, you get an increase in output of these industries. I mean, it's not magic; it's kind of obvious, right? So this leads us back into cryptocurrencies. So, for example, in Bitcoin, Bitcoins are minted and given to miners, and miners don't do anything new in the economy. They're not building any new goods, they're not building any new services, they're not producers. They're actually just dumping the Bitcoins to pay for electricity. So it's kind of not an optimal economic system. So what we try to do with SORA is make it so that new purchasing power in the economy is created, and then the tokens are basically given for productive output only. This is done via a DAO mechanism where people vote on the allocation of all the money. So if the DAO does the right job, then you should get the right outcomes. So this is different from traditional, well, fiat-based economies because there's no democratic oversight. In fact, central banks celebrate their independence, but without democratic oversight, there's a lot of moral hazards that you can have. So they can pursue other objectives than the good of society. And hopefully people who are voting in a DAO have the best intentions of the DAO at heart. So the secret sauce of SORA is built around the SORA tokens. We use what's called a token bonding curve. And in the token bonding curve, you have two linear functions, the buy function and the sell function. And when you put reserve assets into the buy function, you mint new ZOR, and when you sell your ZOR into the sell function, it burns the ZOR but returns the assets. So what this does intuitively is it elastically changes the supply of the currency to match the given target price level. And this works with the secondary market in that the token bonding curve defines the primary market, so the support and resistance levels, and the secondary market is volatile between the two. And this margin of 20% can then be allocated to productive uses, so like creating new goods and services. Because you have this margin, if you buy tokens, if you sell them instantly, you get 20% less money. So you can use this kind of like difference in the collateralization to distribute SORA for productive uses. Also in the SORA economy, we have another token called XST. So XST is a SORA synthetic token, and you can mint this via governance, and you can give it out to people who want to build things on your network. And it has a limit on the convertibility to ZOR because it has liquidity pools on a DEX. I'll show you the DEX in a moment. But basically, you can't just convert all the XST. You can't mint infinite XST and convert it to ZOR. You're limited by the liquidity. So this gives you bounds on the amount of dumpability of the token. So which I think is a good thing. Now, originally, we had wanted to mint ZOR directly and give it out to producers. But the problem is ZOR is not a legal tender currency in any country. So to pay people in the normal world or to buy things, you have to sell the ZOR for fiat, and then you have to buy it. So it has a big sell pressure. So instead of minting the ZOR directly, we mint another token XST, which is converted to ZOR, and then, but with a liquidity limiting. So yeah, that's the basic idea. So there's a lot of nuances, but I think there's not enough time to go into all of it. One thing I'll just point out is you can integrate this into a country's economic system. So you can have like a local economic rationalization board that is set up in a country that will do high-level sectoral planning, and then this will allocate basically new tokens to industries in this country in order for it to, for example, to build new trains or new farmland, things like that. So that to me is really interesting because the world is at a period of big change. And if we can make SORA at the forefront and think about how we can integrate this into traditional economies, then this can actually make a big impact on many developing countries that currently don't have strong currencies or economic policy. But we're not waiting for countries to use SORA to make it useful. We're already doing some cool things. So I'm going to show you some of these now. So we have PokerSwap. So PokerSwap is a DEX, and the goal is to link all the different parachains together through the SORA network, and people can swap all the substrate shitcoins and all the tokens in one place. So we're getting close to realizing this vision. It's taking a long time, but we're getting close. PokeSwap launched last year, and you can swap tokens. Let's see. I'm going to swap some XSTUSD for ZORA. So I've got XSTUSD is a stable coin. So I can swap this and hit confirm. Okay, so yeah, so that's how you swap. It's pretty fast. So this is using Substrate. On the SORA network, it's a standalone network, so the block time is 6 seconds. We also have a Kusama parachain, and the block time is 12 seconds. But we like having the standalone network because it gives us potentially more flexibility and creative solutions to fine-tune the user experience. On top of PokeSwap, some other teams have built some really cool things. Like there's a farming platform called Demeter Farm. Let me make this bigger. So maybe I'll switch to this one. So yeah. Okay, cool. So this is a Demeter Farm. So you can take your LP on PokeSwap and farm it, just like traditional yield farming. But this is really cool because you keep custody of your tokens. They only take a deposit fee when you deposit the liquidity. And then that liquidity is pushed into their token, which is called DAO. But the APR is really quite good. Not investment advice, but I mean, some of it's like 370% and stuff. And it's been pretty, I would say it's been pretty good since May. It's been pretty consistent even through the dark times the market has been through. But yeah, do your own research, not investment advice. But this is a cool farming platform that a team made. It shows also the power of parity substrate because teams can take, they can deploy pallets on the network that really do really advanced things. So with Demeter Farm, you can claim rewards every 1.5 hours, and yeah, it's really quite a cool system. Besides that, we're also working on an amazing initiative. Oh, before I talk about this initiative, there's also a digital wine, or phygital wine, called Noir, and it's a sparkling wine in California that was, they released 777 tokens on PokeSwap, and so it's kind of like Unisocks if you're familiar with Unisocks. So every token you buy, the price goes up, and if you sell, it goes down, like on this XYK curve. And the wine's pretty good. It's all organic Ganache grapes. It's a sparkling rosé, hand-picked grapes under the full moon for bioavailability. And yeah, it's pretty cool. It's a little bit expensive because there's not much left. So they sold more than 500 bottles already. So, but if you get really drunk, you can buy a bottle maybe. Besides that, we're working on a really cool initiative called SORA Card. And I can show you some mock-ups here. So SORA Card is going to be a credit card that's linked to your self-custodial wallet. So this is going to launch really soon. And I think in 2 weeks, right, will be 3 weeks maybe. Yeah, we'll see. We're going to start onboarding. You can do the KYC and onboard. And then next month they should ship, right? Excuse me. Christmas they should ship. Great. So it's going to be kind of like this Revolut-style interface. So we're building this into the SORA wallet right now. And this will also be in Fearless Wallet in the future. And you'll be able to get an IBAN in the EU. It's a euro-based MasterCard, and then you can take your crypto as a debit card. So you can top up your account using any token that is listed on PokeSwap, and then then you just are good to go. And if you want to buy some crypto, you can send money to your IBAN and then swap it into ZOR. Once you have the ZOR, it's self-custodied, so you can manage it all yourself. And this will also be put into the website as well. So it's going to be really cool mixing like TradFi and DeFi like worlds together in one place. And there's this nice article that was written that has a comparison to the other like major cards like the Binance card, Crypto.com, I've never heard of Cryptarium. And then Revolut. And some of the cool things are, well, of course, it's a self-custodied crypto wallet. So if you use crypto.com or Revolut, they have your crypto. So you don't have access to it unless you take it out, I guess. And then also the limits are pretty good. So you get a daily cash withdrawal of 5,000 euros per day, 25,000 euros per day spending limit, and top-up limit from a bank would be 25,000 euros a day too. In the future, I think you can have unlimited for the top tier. So there'll be different tiers. So you'll be able to basically have a black card, except it'll be red. So it should be pretty cool. So that's being worked on, and yeah, we're happy to answer any questions. So this is a very brief overview of what we've been doing in the ecosystem. So maybe there's time to take 2 or 3 questions. I brought stickers, so if you ask a question, you get a sticker. So I got 3 stickers, so 3 questions. Otherwise, I'll just take the stickers. Okay, yeah. Well, we support other DEXs. Well, this is called SORA card. Actually, with PokerSwap, we want to aggregate liquidity across different DEXs in the future. So in theory, like you could be trading on other DEXs in one place. That's going to be a while, though. Okay, you get a sticker. Yeah. There you go. Anyone else?
Are you looking to use Kill's KYC in your program?
So they asked if we want to use Kill's KYC. So we don't see the need for KYC on a DEX. It's really quite decentralized. In fact, there's no web servers even on PokerSwap. Ah, the credit card. Well, I mean, we're working with like a payment processor, so they already have their own way to do KYC. If they supported Kilt, we would happily use it. Yeah. Okay. Anyone else? Okay. So basically, why Polkadot and what's the future of DeFi in Polkadot? Oh, gee, that's hard. Well, I really don't like EVM as a person. So EVM is really hard to write secure code, and it's kind of slow and clunky. And writing code in Rust is much safer and easier. So we use Rust palettes on our network. So we don't support Ink yet. Maybe in the future. But yeah, I like Polkadot mainly because it's very fast. So we benchmarked the SORA network to handle 25 million transactions per day, which is not much if you're like Visa or MasterCard, but it's more than the transactions on Bitcoin, Ethereum, Polygon, Cardano, BSC, Polkadot, like all put together. So there's just very few crypto users still. So we're still really early, I like to think. Where's the future of DeFi in Polkadot? Well, I think a lot of the ideas related to Spree are very interesting, where you can share part of the virtual machine state with other chains, and they can do some computation on it, and then send it back to you. I don't know when this will be mature, but it's quite an interesting idea. I think XCM makes a lot of sense too, so being able to move things, I mean, it's like the clear trend in technology, right? Being able to move things around. So I do like Polkadot more than other ecosystems like Cosmos from a technology standpoint. Yeah, so hopefully that answers the question. So I'm out of stickers, but I'm happy to answer other questions if there's. Otherwise, it's 3 p.m. and I think they're going to start serving some wine. Okay, so thanks for coming.